So you've sown your seed. I'll say it's the tough part. It's the management phase, because again, it takes up to 3 years for the wildflowers and prairie grasses to establish. So in the meantime, managing for weeds is very important. We highly recommend doing a cutting in the management season, and that means if you have acreage or a large area, every time the growth gets 10 to 12 inches, cut it down to 4 to 6 inches. This can be done with a lawnmower set as high as you can, or a weed whip if it's a smaller area, or a brush hog for acreage. And what you're doing in the cutting is preventing weeds from reseeding. Majority of the weeds are annual weeds or biennial weeds. Those plants last a year or two. And if you can prevent them from reseeding and producing more plants, you pretty much take them out of the picture. I think it also helps mentally to know that the first growing season, you're probably not going to see a lot of flowers, and so your expectations will be a little bit lower, and that's okay in the first season. As again, it's a very slow process. So for example, behind me is our production field of yellow coneflower, and this we seeded, and initially after we seeded it, we just kept it cut for probably 2 or 3 years and allowed these to slowly establish, but in the meantime really took care of a lot of the weed species and prevented those from coming in. I do see there's a smattering of Queen Anne's lace. Queen Anne's lace is not native to Michigan. It actually originated in England and was brought here. I don't worry about this one too much. It's actually pretty, but for folks that don't want it in their planting, this is a great example because it's a biennial. So the second year is when it flowers. And so if you can cut it before it goes to seed, that will eliminate that plant from your meadow and also prevent it from reseeding. So if you have a tiny area, you could just cut it and make a bouquet out of it, and that'll be a form of weed control. But again, the first year, a mowing regime, every time that growth gets high, cut it low. If you do that well, in most cases, the second year you can let it go, but you can be prepared to do that in the second year too if weeds persist. Long-term management of a wildflower planting would be a cutting at the end of the year or very early the next spring. And over every 2 to 3 years, you would probably want to either rake it out or do a controlled burn to eliminate the thatch buildup of the plants from the prior year.